Hello and welcome to another PlayoutONE video with Air. And today we're going to be talking about mixdowns and mixdown markers using the log window, which is to my right here on this main screen. I've moved and navigated to my 11 PM hour, the 2300 hour for those on the 24-hour clock, and I can see all of my content here for this particular hour. But I've decided I want to mix all of this down to, well, one file first of all, and then maybe I might want to chop it up into different files. Kind of useful if you're preparing a show for other radio stations and you want to kind of send them off in three, say, separate chunks in an hour. Let's go back to the first port of call, which is our mixdown of the entire hour, and it's really straightforward this. All we need to do is go somewhere in the hour, okay, the 11 o'clock hour, the 2300 hour, and right-click in the log, and then we're going to go down to mixdown. This little screen will pop up, this little window, asking me where I want to put the file and what the file needs to be called. By default, first time you do it, it's probably going to want to put it into the PlayoutONE directory. I'm going to change it by just dropping this down here and basically saying I'm going to save my entire hour onto my desktop. And at this point, I could actually give it a name. So test 1, 11 PM. And I could even change the save as type. This is a WAV or a WAV, which is obviously very big. I can change it to an MP3 if I want to there and hit save. And now you can see the pathing will be desktop on this machine. It'll call the file that there. And it's the 2300 hour or the 11 PM hour that I'm going to do. I hit start mixdown. What the system will now do is go and find all the audio in the order it would play out at, with all of the seg points, all of the fade points, and will create one master file that then you can do what you want with. As we can see now, it's mixed the file down and it's just saving it onto the desktop. Obviously, it takes a little bit of time because it's taking the entire hour of content and turning it into one file, and it's also turning it into an MP3 file at the same time. And we're nearly done. And now we are done. And just to prove it's created one file, I can go to my desktop on the computer. And there is the file, and you can see it's one big file of 125 meg in size, and that will be everything on the screen in front of you. Okay, what happens then if we want to save this hour but in two chunks? So say, for example, we want to mix down the first quarter hour or so, say 13 or 14 minutes in this case, and then the rest of the hour we want as a separate file. Well, we can do that very easily by going to the top of the show at the 11 o'clock or the 2300 hour, and we're going to insert what we call a mixdown break marker. Okay, now we can call this what we like. I might call this the first 13 minutes of the show, just to be honest, all right, and be obvious. It's going to be an MP3 file, going to be saved on the desktop, and then I want to basically get the system to mix down the rest of the hour separately. So what I'll do is I'll get to my last song before my first commercial break here, spot break, and I'm going to say I want you to mix down there. Insert, and then I'm going to go to marker, and then I'm going to go to where I went before, which was mixdown break. I'm going to call this rest of the show. I've basically told the log to mix down these things separately. So the first mixdown it creates will be from here to there, and the second mixdown it creates automatically will be from that point there all the way through to the end of the hour. And just like the first instance where we right click on the log to hit mix down, we'll do it again. Watch, this time it will take over and do everything itself. So it's now currently making the first 13 or 14 minutes of the hour into one file, and as you can see it's a bit quick because it only has to do just a few, and it's now saving that 13 minutes or 14 minutes of this hour for me. And it will instantly then go on to the next bit, which is from the second marker through to the end of the hour. And there's the second section being saved. Just to prove that it has done two different files of different sizes, we can now see that the first 13 minutes are here. And of course, it's a small file size because it's only 13 or 14 minutes worth of the program. And the rest of the show is 93 meg in size without having more content. And that's how you use mixdowns and mixdown markers.